So in this session, we'll see the concepts such as classes and object is very important in object-oriented programming. What objects and classes? An object is something tangible, something that can be apprehended. Intellectual such as date. It's an object is an instance of a class. If you want our class to be a grouping of conceptually related state and behavior. So if you look at, again, an object, it's something tangible. Do we have been? Sarangi, Suri Tendulkar, Ricky Ponting, Donaldo. So we can go, those objects. And also things such as Fararoti daughter. Something that can be branded intellectually, such as deemed, it can also be an object. Always keep in mind that object is an instance of a class, so if a man is a person or Tendulkar, Ricky Ponting, so Ben stops. If you say man is an instance of the class person to feel a bit more, it's a specific object that belongs to that class persons. Now we have some kind of an understanding about an object and what is the difference between classes. An object is an instance of a class. An object is something tangible. And something that can be apprehended intellectual. So let's see the basic components of an object. No matter what object we are talking about, the physical, legal, conceptual object, etc., we can think of it in terms of three fundamental aspects. We have three fundamental aspects. So let's see those aspects. An object has state, behavior and identity. This really important object-tested behavior and identity state can be considered as attributes properties such as data and variables. Behavior, operations and interactions, those are called methods. Identity is a unique identifier address in memory. Object tests state, behavior and identity. So we learned the three fundamental aspects. An object. So if you take an example, time is an object. Apprehend an intellectual state or attributes, we have hours and minutes. And seconds. And the second aspect are the operations. We can have 6 hours set minute, set seconds, so we are setting the time. NBA identity would have a unique ID in the morning. Suppose you are to write a code for a bank and you are asked to write a class account. So in this case, you can put it to you. What is the state behavior for a state and the behavior for a bank? So you can post this video and take some time and think. Instead refers to the attributes of properties. That means data and variables, behavior, operations, interactions. Those are called methods. In the time class, we have stayed, behavior stayed hours, meaning secure behavior said that was said, we need citizens. So in this case, the glass account, what is debt behavior for a bank account? So here we represent the glass graphically using UML Unified Modeling Language to ease the way you have account, and we have the state such as balance. So here the dash means private. And for behavior, we draw deposit, get balance and close. So the behavior is a public. So we have kept this state private using the dash and we have the behavior public. So if you have the contrast, so here we have found the state and the behavior state is the balance. They can't balance behavior. What kind of methods? Operations we draw, deposit, good balance and close. We have given the data types and the parameter values and the return to access it. So let's examine the count, plus the declaration of the class public class account, the name of the class, the second, and we have the state instance where it was private balance. Next, we have constructors to initialize objects to create instances we have constructed. We'll be looking into the topic constructors deal data, meaning if you just. And next, we have behavior, these methods to change or show the state of it. It got. So we have the behavior, we draw, deposit, get balance and close. Glass declaration in general by a glass name always starts with that capital letter. A glass declaration contains declarations of instance methods and he stands ready with. Typically, a glass declaration also contains declaration of constructors. We have public class, class name, variable declarations, constructor declarations, midhat declarations. No audits, no, it's not important, but this is the standard way of class declaration, so it's always encouraged to follow the proper standard, the standard B. So what is not important, but it's always recommended to follow the standard. Instance where you is an instance where people can hold a single wedding, for example, by double means. And also least is variable. Can hold an object. So we not worry about the details of this, for now instance, variables that typically defined as private. This did the information hiding between classes. More Nexus money for his private. Information, Heidi, is essential in the industry. So we are talking about information hiding in the future, Sasha. You need we used as methods instead of methods and the behavior and the state of an object and says methods represent the behavior. So we know that the object test date and behavior, we used instanced methods to represent the behavior and alter the state of an object. In that counterexample, so we have the opposite, which increases the balance of the account by a specified amount, and the withdraw which decreases the balance of the account by you specify them, get balance, pinch the balance of the account and close with close as they will close. They want to know when the behavior of the general behavior of a bank account. So we have listed in the account example as these dense patterns we have deposited. We draw good balance and close. To the instance method also provide the interface for classes. Different objects can communicate with each other where their interface, for instance, methods so that used test methods provide the interface for glassers. That means different objects can communicate with each other where these. So in order to achieve this goal, these communication methods are typically defined as public. That means can be accessed by the members of other classes. So we should use public in that this. Declaring instead submitted to this is very important. You have to follow the syntax public void deposit open record. The amount the public is Texas modifier. What is the return date? So we use void if no value is written, return we use. Right. Deposit is the method name that you so that we use. So we have the to reduce demand and amount parameter list type and name type is double the amount we get. How many astroglide? Access money for the declaration of any's does vary, but a constructor and an instance method or even a class begins with access money for public or private. So let's see what is public. The entity can be accessed by other classes. That means public, private, the entity is only accessible from within the class itself. So if you have private, you gotta keep in mind that the entity is only accessible from within the class itself. But if it's public, the entity can be accessed by other classes. So in general instance, variables will be private and used, just methods and constructors will be public. That's the kind of decision. So if he can get to summary decision, we studied about classes and objects. We studied about the object and we learned that object is an instance of a class. So we found the basic components in an object, the three fundamental aspects, state behavior and identity. Object has state behavior and identity. State refers to the attributes, properties of the variable behavior, operations, interactions, methods, identity, unique identifier. So we looked into a few examples. State behavior, identity. Then we studied about the account class. We represented the class in a graphically unified modeling language. So we have studied in behavior here. So this second class declaration. Then you study the voting stats variables used as methods. And we also learned that instance that represented the behavior and again, used, and those are used to alter the status of an object. It's just me that's next important when we land declaration of instance methods. So this is very important. Then we learned about Texas modifiers and little. That's the end of the session. Thank you. AutoScroll course content reviews Q&A questions and answers notes overview announcements learning tools lecture completed. Progress cannot be changed for this item. Play.